Welcome back to Colorful Clipboard. Carrie and I are so glad that you are here to join us. And we are going to talk a little bit about things that make you scream. So really, we're going to talk about, I think Carrie's going to kind of share with us some different strategies for reducing stress. So Carrie, I say it's things that people are going to scream about. You tell us a little.
To me, it's feeding your soul. So we've talked in various episodes, we've talked about, finding an artistic release or a creative release to help you with stress management, taking care of your health, sleeping, eating good food. We've talked about all kinds of things like that as far as managing your stress. And I want to talk to you about using your outside voice for fun and profit. Well, okay, for fun anyway, probably not so much profit.
Well, but it is, because this is not just you. This is a great, this is a great episode for you to take some notes and for you to share with your staff. We all have that child, that parent, that coworker, that family member that really does make us want to scream. And if we don't find a way to release that energy, it really will come back to bite us. Whether it's because we kind of turned into a snot that day at work, or because we just, couldn't function.
Maybe we give ourselves an upset stomach or a migraine, those kinds of things. So the first one I'm gonna throw out there is one that Kate and I did together with our children when they were younger. And it's a ropes course. And this is a great thing to do as a staff bonding experience, because they will have something to talk about other than each other going forward. And, a lot of state and national parks around have a low risk, high ropes course. And by low risk, high ropes course, I don't think either Kate or I did anything that was above 5 feet off the ground. They had things that were more like 20 feet off the ground, but I don't think either Kate or I did them. Other people in our group did. But, there's barrel walking and log walking and, all kinds of different activities that are available at those high ropes courses. And you get lots of opportunities to go, little things that give you a little bit of a scare, not a huge amount, but it lets you use that outside voice. And it's amazing how relaxed you are after having held yourself very tightly while you're walking across something that scares you a little bit. You're harnessed up, you're going to be safe, but that doesn't mean that, the reptilian part of your brain believes you. And so there is going to be some screaming. And so I think that's the first one of those that I want to throw out there. Kate, I know you've been to, had workshops and stuff around a ropes course. What are some other things that are advantages to doing something like that, either with your staff or by yourself?
So a lot of it is that building of confidence. So if you're looking at doing it with your staff, you're looking to build some trust relationships. You are building trust relationships if you do it with a family. If you're doing it by yourself, you develop a whole different sense of confidence. And you go, okay, that scared the crap out of me, but I did it. I survived it. And you know what? It wasn't really all that bad. Or, maybe you come back a couple of days later and go, oh, okay, so I'm definitely not 20 anymore. So maybe you just chalk it up as, okay, I did that. I can mark it off my list. May not have been on a bucket list. Maybe it was just, somebody thinks I need to do this list. But it's still really important. And to me, one of the things to really think about is there are a lot of those same kinds of activities that can be done in your center, on your playground, that it wouldn't cost you anything. So you can go to Pinterest, you can Google and find what they call low ropes course. And you can find things like It's the piece of square. It's the square that you use to help get everybody across the other side of the room. I don't know what the name of that activity is called. So there's that one. We're getting to the time of the year where I love anything that looks like water balloons, pool noodles, pool noodle sword fights. I mean, again, depending on the age of your staff, and if you've got I'm going to call it a sturdy elementary school playground someplace near you, where you guys get to go and just be kids. So a lot of community parks that are done by a community parks and rec department can handle most adults, even though it may say ages 5 through 12. So obviously you want to be respectful. If you get there and there's a bunch of little kids, do not climb on, yeah. Do not kick them off. Wait till they leave. But if you can, that's another great opportunity. Swing sets to me are the absolute. It's really hard to stay mad and frustrated while you're swinging.
Yep. So the next one I was going to talk about was actually having some sort of war. So the water balloon war definitely ties into that. Playing dodgeball, playing pickleball, something like that, where you get some competitiveness and you're going to use your outside voice. I don't know that it is physically possible to have a water balloon fight and be quiet. I'm pretty sure you end up going, ah, yelling things as, got you, and all of that kind of stuff, right? And so it's getting out some of your frustration with that staff member, with that situation, whatever, in a way that you can purge it from your system and you can have a good time, and you are playing. Playing is what we're, that's the core of our industry, right? We want the kids to play. Learning through play is much more effective than learning any other way. So I need you as a director or an owner to learn how to relax. And throwing water balloons or having a pool noodle fight or playing dodgeball. Kate's a big fan of dodgeball. All of those kinds of things give you some of that release and allow you to have competitiveness in a safe way and in a relaxing way. Again, after a water balloon fight or after a pool noodle fight, your sides are probably going to be hurting because you laughed so hard. I've been known to be engaged in pool noodle fights with school agers and laughed so hard that I literally fell over in the middle of a pool noodle fight. But that sort of having a quote unquote war is a great way to use your outside voice, and it really feeds your soul and helps you to relax.
So the other thing to remember, which is kind of a fun thing, is you guys have heard us on different episodes talk about different days of the week and of the month. And I know that during the summer, I don't actually remember when, is like National Mud Day. So most childcare centers have a place, if they've got grass and gravel, that for whatever reason never seems to grow grass and always seems to just be wet. So here is an opportunity for your staff to engage in something that they would just never, ever, ever, ever do. Now, part of the reason we're talking about the pool noodle and the water balloon fight and even International Mud Day, it could be throwing pies in your face day or whatever, is I want you to think of things that you can do with 20 people and it's not going to become expensive. There are lots of great activities that Carrie and I can get you that are team building, but they're going to cost money. And sometimes just that $15 per person is not going to be something you can afford. So whether it's axe throwing or, archery, top golf, these are all activities that I've seen businesses do for team building that definitely will release the pent up energy.
Oh yeah. I mean, Kate and I took up archery when we had teenagers. There is a reason we took up archery when we had teenagers.
Yeah. So,
That's okay. Our kids don't listen to this podcast, except for Marie.
for one. So, but definitely, again, think about the skills you have, think about the skills your staff have. What are some things that, you just know that there's no way they would ever do because they don't like to get dirty. Okay. So, have some fun. And again, hoses, dirt, squirt guns. What are those little power
Power washers? No, don't use a power washer on a person. I think she's meaning the water gun.
The big water
pump action water gun.
But even the Nerf guns, those are all things that can be a lot
of fun. Nerf war would be a lot of fun. A Nerf war would be a lot of fun. So that, we've talked about two big categories. So the next one is going to a show of some sort where you're going to be able to cheer people on, or this is not going to the opera is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about going to a Bob Schneider show, or, I went to New Kids on the Block show. So it can be a concert where you can be loud and obnoxious. Okay, really, I went to a Rick Astley concert and the New Kids on the Block were there. Just to be 100% clear. Or going to a theater activity. Kate and I went to a drag show. Hello, Pride Month. Going to a melodrama play or an interactive Shakespeare play, something where you are getting to cheer people on. Sports ball. Yeah. You could go to a Spurs basketball game. I will approve no other professional basketball game, but if you want to go to the Spurs, I'm totally down for that. You can go to football.
But if we're going to stay on budget, use your local high school, local elementary school, find out what's happening in your community, and, ask about dress rehearsals. Again, staff going on Thursday night shows, if you take a whole group, always ask for the group discount.
Yep.
If you're in a city that has lots of theater options, definitely call and check on school options. Because again, just because it's going to be for you, if you take a bunch of little kids to a puppet show, you're going to be laughing, but if no other reason than because the kids are going to be funny. Now, the puppet show, you may not be at all interested in, but the kids will be.
And children's theater is a lot of fun, and a lot of the shows are written to have both jokes that the kids are going to get and the adults, because they know if the adults are bored out of their mind that they're not going to come back to that theater. So a lot of kids theater has, it's like Disney, right? There's jokes for the kids and there's jokes for the adults. And, or a movie that, people are going to be loud in the audience. Top Gun Maverick was not a sit quietly in the movie theater movie. No Avengers movie is a sit quietly in the movie theater movie. This is not The Notebook, right? We're not going to a romantic comedy when we want to practice using our outside voices. But, a Star Wars movie, a superhero movie, a remake of something from 30 years ago in which people for no known reason take their shirts off and play sports.
Who cares?
That is another way to use your outside voice and to fill up your soul by doing it. You need to do grown-up things, and you need to play. You don't need to play the way a 4-year-old plays. You need to play the way adults play. You can play the way a 4-year-old plays. I'm not discounting it. I love playing with watercolor. I love playing with Play-Doh. I love just sitting outside and watching bugs in the grass. But what we're talking about here is doing big things. things where you're using, like I said, the outside voice for fun and profit.
So don't forget, there's dodgeball, there's kickball. There are sports that you can do with your staff, kind of regardless of the size of your program or of your staff. There doesn't mean that you can't include spouses, roommates, significant others, or other people. You can always do that. The other thing that is something kind of fun to do as we're getting into summer are things related to, those summertime things you did as a kid. So watermelon, seed spitting, making old fashioned popsicles. I mean, if you can find an ice cube tray and saran wrap and toothpicks, those things that chances are somebody that works with you remembers doing as a kid.
Yeah, and you could say this, we're having a 70s summer. So everything we're doing at the center is things that kids did in the 70s. This is a 50, it's a 50-year anniversary. This is the golden anniversary of the 70s. And so this is what we're doing.
We're drinking water out of the hose.
Yep, a lot of drinking water out of the hose. And I did that at my centers. So, different kinds of things. And again, if you didn't want to take all of your staff to go see Maverick, which, I'm sure everybody's seen it now. It's been out for whatever it is, weeks and weeks or a month or whatever. But you could do a thing where you throw a sheet up and you get a projector and you do a Princess Bride quote along. And again, whoever gets all of, Indigo Montoya's, every single time he says hello, my name is Indigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. The person who gets it every time gets a prize, or, the person who can do the best Fezzik impersonation or whatever it is, right? That's another way you're using that outside voice. You're bonding your staff. You guys are playing together and you're reducing your stress level. So I know that Kate was very dubious when I brought up this topic. Both of us are very loud. I just do it in public more than Kate does. I'm loud at a festival. I'm loud at the park. I'm loud everywhere. And I try to have a lot of fun doing it. Kate is mostly loud when she's training or running a group of kids.
I'm pretty sure I'm loud all the time. I just kind of over the last 20 years forgot how to play. So I'm working on that. So the other thing I'd like to just kind of tag team with, again, a lot of these same suggestions, is absolutely check out what your municipality and what your county parks programs are doing, because a lot of them do, dive and swim nights where you can, again, you're coming to the local pool for free. That doesn't cost you anything, or it costs everybody $2. I mean, and even though it's not you hosting, that doesn't mean that you can't take your staff. And again, let me put a caveat on that. If you do something in public with your staff, two things to remember. Are you wearing branded clothing? So in other words, does everybody know where you work? And how are you behaving? Are you setting a good example? So in other words, you don't want everybody to show up with your center's t-shirt on at the community Friday night swim pool. That's a, BYOB, and,
and people are 3 margaritas in when they arrive.
Yeah. Don't do that. No. But absolutely have a good time. Every example we've given you did not include taking your staff out to a bar, because that is absolutely going to be something you'll never hear us promote. But I'm perfectly okay with you feeding your staff, getting to know your staff, having some fun with your staff, forcing them to get dirty. Just channel your inner child if you can. And that could be finger painting. I mean, there's all kinds of really fun things that you can do.
And if you need time away from your staff, you can do all of these things without them. So we're talking about how you can use it with your staff, but you can also just go have a water balloon fight with your spouse in the backyard. Like, you don't have to involve them. If what you need is time away from them, and you're afraid if you went and had a water balloon fight with them, somebody would ask you for 3 weeks off in the middle of December.
Okay, so one last thing to think about. If you're doing water balloon fights, one option, dollar store sponges, cut them in half. Throw the wet sponge at somebody. It's a lot easier to clean up, just saying.
It's a lot easier to clean up. It's a lot easier to fill up, and you're not doing any damage to the environment. There are now reusable water balloons.
Yeah,
no, they're really cool. They're like oyster shells.
Yeah,
they're really cool.
I'm just like, nah. Go with the sponge. I mean, my favorite are the great big sponges that you'd get for car washing. And I've actually seen people do that. You know, they literally, all of the staff get out and wash all of the toys. And again, they end up a big bubble fight. So again, you know, there's no reason why some of those chores that have to be done once a week or every couple of weeks can't be some fun. And if you got a hose out and a couple of buckets of soap, get some great big sponges that are just a lot of fun to throw.
Yep. Okay, guys. So I hope you don't think we're completely crazy. And please go out and use your outside voice for fun and profit.
Absolutely.